We have multiple updates on the New York Knicks head coaching search, as now all signs point to this, as a New York Knicks insider revealed what this search looks like as the Knicks prepare to put a coach in front of this core that fits perfectly. While we also have an update on Johnny Bryant, who for a while now has been both the favorite and the fan favorite to get the Knicks head coaching job, and we are going to break all of this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here. We're going to jump right into things as always. If you guys are part of that 72% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, we have daily videos like this and much more. You do not want to miss out on any of the content that we have coming out for you guys. There's a bunch of Knicks news right now, and we are covering all of it. You will know everything about the Knicks as long as you're subscribed, because then you'll have all the info on it. But let's jump into this. There's a lot to go over. We know that Mike Brown is going to be one of the guys to the New York Knicks interview as the Knicks prepare to interview multiple faces. Starting with Brown and Taylor Jenkins, the Knicks have begun their coaching interview process, but they also are still looking. They're still searching for more names to add to the list. As of right now, the only two coaches confirmed to be getting interviews are Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins, but it's known that the Knicks have casted a wide net full of different coaches from different levels, whether it's NBA head coaches right now, like Jason Kidd, assistant coaches at the NBA level, we're going to see more about that in the coming days. College coaches. The Knicks are casting a very wide net to make sure they get this thing right. And Knicks insider James Edwards discussed a bunch about this coaching search and what it looks like as of right now and the favorite for the job. And Edwards was talking about this, saying, 2 weeks into the search for a new head coach, New York will interview leading candidates Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown. The Athletic first reported that last week. Once that's settled, the franchise will shift to the NBA draft and then free agency, with trades intertwined with all of the cards. So the Knicks, they're doing multiple things right now. They have a bunch of stuff upcoming because it's the beginning of the NBA offseason. Things are crazy. They can't just blind themselves by only looking for a coach. Now, yes, that is obviously number one on the list, and that is not going to change. However, what we're seeing is a Knicks team that's going to be careful that they don't miss out on anything going on in the NBA because they're so locked in to hiring a new head coach. The only team that has to hire a new head coach as of right now and probably all off season. And they're not going to wait. They're not going to start doing free agency negotiations and people are going to ask, well, who's your head coach going to be? And they're going to be like, I don't know. They're not going to do that. So we know they're going to figure this problem out in the not too distant future, but it's also not going to happen this week. It might not happen next week. The NBA draft is in 8 days. The Knicks likely will not have a head coach by then, but we will likely know who the finalists are, or at the very least, we'll know enough about what the Knicks are feeling that we'll be able to give a bunch more information to the world, and we're going to have good ideas of the final 3-4 names that we can expect the Knicks to really be going after. Now, Mike Brown is going to be one of them, and James Edwards mentioned this, saying Mike Brown crafted some intricate and fun offenses over his time in Sacramento, and while personnel plays a part in that, I do think he's learned enough along the way to adjust to a different roster with the Knicks. The most important thing is New York should be looking for is someone who can maximize their offense. Yes, the Knicks finished a regular season with the 5th best offense in basketball, but that offense ranked 16th from January 1st to the end of the regular season. It should be remembered that Jalen Brunson missed most of March with an injury. Too often, this group was stagnant and predictable. There needs to be a little more juice offensively going forwards. And it was also mentioned by Edwards that we knew the defense was going to rank in the middle of the pack at best. That's just due to the makeup of the roster. The offense, given all the talent in the starting group, should consistently be a nightmare for defenses, and it just wasn't. With their defensive limitations, the Knicks need to make sure the offense is humming more often than not. First of all, Edwards is absolutely correct. The New York Knicks, they need to be better at offense. It's just a fact. It's why the idea of Mike Brown is so enticing. We know Mike Brown will be able to craft an excellent offense for this Knicks team, depending on what the starting lineup looks like. Maybe they sign someone who jumps into the starting lineup. Maybe they run the classic starting lineup that they ran of Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG, Mikal, and Karl-Anthony Towns, and they decide, hey, maybe with an offensive head coach, we could figure out a way for this to actually work instead of just trying to have this freelance style that Tibbs is doing where it's so easy to put a big man on Josh Hart. Maybe the Knicks go the route of putting Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup for Josh Hart on a more permanent basis and decide, hey, we're going to be an offensively focused team. There's no doubt about it. Mitchell Robinson is the best offensive rebounder in the sport right now. And on top of that, what we're also seeing is now we have rim protection in Mitch, one of the better rim protectors in basketball. We have Mikal Bridges. We have OG. We have a great group of defenders on this team. But we're never going to be a team that wins defense first as long as Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns are both on the roster. And that's fine. You don't have to be. You could be an offensive team first, and you could survive. There's no doubt about it. Look, Towns is better at defense when he's not playing center. Jalen Brunson's defense is not very good, but it's not as bad as people like to say it is. As long as you're playing with a nightmare offense when teams just cannot stop you, then you're going to be fine. You have Mitch creating second chances, which lead to more open threes because the most open threes come off of offensive rebounds. On top of that, you have 4 great offensive players. You have Jalen Brunson, one of the best offensive players in basketball. You have Karl-Anthony Towns, one of the most uniquely skilled big men in history of the sport. Mikal and OG are excellent offensive options at that third and fourth option spot, and either of them can do either of that while still playing excellent defense. And then again, you just have Mitchell Robinson out there who, for some reason, despite the fact that he doesn't shoot jump shots at all, creates a bit more spacing than you'd initially think because he can move a bit farther out because the way he adjusts and gets through people, you create that bit of spacing that he can then cut off and attack that dunker spot. And also, if he sits out a little bit farther than most people do in the dunker spot, you're also creating situations for OG to be able to cut to the basket still and use his incredible backdoor cuts. So there's ways around this. There's ways the Knicks can be optimized without having a 5-out roster. Or they could have a 5-out roster. You could plug Deuce in there. You could sign someone in free agency. And we all know that I'm going to make 70 million videos on that because I'm covering everything that has to do with the Knicks. And a lot of times there's a lot of free agency rumors. I try to jumble them together as much as possible. So I'm not saying, well, the Knicks might go for this guy. Let me talk about him for 7 minutes. I'm usually going to be the Knicks are going for these 3 guys. Let me talk about them for 8 minutes. Something like that. But what we're doing is we're looking at a situation where the Knicks roster is not complete right now. They're going to add more talent off the bench. And that talent could become starting talent where you move someone to the bench, whether it's a Mitch, a Josh Hart, a Deuce McBride. You have options, and the Knicks are going to exhaust all of their options to do so. Guys like Al Horford are going to be linked to the Knicks. They already have been, and he's a guy who you can put at that power forward spot and have Cat play center, and the defense gets a little bit better, and you still have a 5-out. The Jaren Jackson Jr. stuff is real. Maybe the Knicks go out and trade for Jaren Jackson, and then they have a 5-out while also having a phenomenal defense with Jackson, OG, and Mikal. There's a lot of different options the New York Knicks can exhaust here, and they're going to exhaust these options, and they're also exhausting these options with the head coaching search as well. Now look, on top of that, Michael Scotto did reveal some news on the head coaching search in regard to Johnny Bryant, saying, after being a finalist for Phoenix's head coaching job, Cavaliers associate head coach Johnny Bryant is expected to return to Cleveland. And on top of that, Sports Illustrated mentioned, at this point in the NBA offseason, there's only one lone coaching vacancy left on the market, that being the New York Knicks head coaching job. Amid New York's decision to fire Tom Thibodeau after the franchise's Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 20 years, or first Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 20 years, while Bryant does have 4 years of experience on the Knicks staff, Scotto's report seems to hint towards the longtime assistant sticking around in Cleveland for another round. Now, that is not guaranteed, but right now what it looks like is that the Cavaliers are expecting Johnny Bryant to return to the team. Now, if you ask most Knicks fans, they are going to say they want Johnny Bryant to be the head coach of the Knicks. We know that Christian Winfield did say that Johnny Bryant, a week back, that Johnny Bryant remains a top candidate for that Knicks head coaching job, and that there's no active competition for candidates. The Knicks are prepared to wait and evaluate every possible path. And Knicks fans are calling for Johnny Bryant, saying, just put the Johnny Bryant hire in the bag, get me Johnny Bryant, and also asking for Camara from the Trailblazers. That's probably not happening. And then just give Johnny Bryant the job, I should say. So everything is saying that, or a lot of fans are saying that they want to see Johnny Bryant take over. And now the one glimmer of hope we have outside of Winfield's report is also that Edwards mentioned New York is also expected to start contacting organizations to speak with assistant head coaches about the opening, according to a league source. Assistant head coaches, Johnny Bryant. So yes, the report from Michael Scotto and Sports Illustrated is that it's expected that Johnny Bryant is going to return to Cleveland. However, that also means the Knicks have not contacted Cleveland at all. They know they're not getting Coach of the Year Kenny Atkinson. They're not even going to try, clearly. Outside of that, they also probably don't want to upset the Cavs at all and be like, hey, can we have Kenny Atkinson? Because we saw the report that Shams said that teams were like, what are you doing calling us about our head coach? We're not saying yes to that. However, you call the Cavs and say, hey, we had Johnny Bryant on our squad for a while. We like what he did. We saw him for a while as the heir apparent to Tom Thibodeau. We want to interview him for a head coaching job. Cleveland's not going to say no. They're not going to block Johnny Bryant from the chance to become an NBA head coach because, first of all, there's a chance the Knicks don't even hire Johnny Bryant. There's a chance they interview Johnny Bryant and still go with a guy like a Mike Brown. Or there's a chance the Cavs say no to Johnny Bryant. Johnny Bryant gets upset and wants to leave the Cavs anyway, and then they already lose him. So they're going to let him out. That's why teams always allow their associate head coaches and their assistant coaches to do interviews with other teams. You don't want to upset them, and you don't want to stop them from getting a chance to achieve their dream job of being an NBA head coach. The Cavs will say yes to the Knicks asking for Johnny Bryant. And if that happens, the Knicks will interview Bryant. And if the Knicks interview Bryant, my expectation is that he's still going to be the favorite. Now, from what I've heard, and I haven't gotten an update in like 2 weeks now, since Thibodeau got fired 2 weeks ago today, Dolan likes Johnny Bryant. That's James Dolan's pick. So as long as that's the case, I do think we will see Johnny Bryant likely become the Knicks head coach. But the more and more time goes on, I could see it being Mike Brown or Taylor Jenkins as well. You ask me right now, I probably would say it's going to be one of those three guys. If there's a sleeper pick I had to go with, I think Dave Bliss from the OKC Thunder is a very possible outcome as well. Now, it's clear that the Knicks are more leaning towards guys with head coaching experience, but I think that's being a bit overblown. But we're going to see how it all goes down. There's going to be a bunch more head coaching updates that we'll dive into as well as time goes on. So make sure to have those post notifications turned on and subscribe to Knicks Digest so you don't miss a single update. Like this video, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I realized I just said turn on post notifications twice and technically 3 times now. So I'll shut up. Have a great day. Go Knicks.